Are we living in a simulated reality? The Game of Life and How to Play It. By Nonnis Ellis. August 5, 2016. Website: ananas.com. Produced by Higher Self.
Have you ever had a sense that life isn't real, reality is an illusion, or you are just dreaming? Believe it or not, most people have had at least a fleeting sense that something is just not right about our reality. But why would so many of us have this odd thought or feeling if it weren't true? What if it is true and we are really living in a simulated reality? This may seem a bit out there, until you stop to consider that some very reputable physicists are now saying that reality is not real, and, in fact, there is a very good probability that we are living inside a sophisticated computer simulation. Of course, the simulated universe theory isn't yet widely accepted, however most quantum physicists agree that the nature of reality operates according to mathematics and, for all intents and purposes, the entire universe can be summed up or explained digitally. According to the digital physics principle, reality is generated by digital information, and the electrical signals in your brain interpret that data into what you call reality. This means that nothing exists without consciousness. Moreover, just recently a quantum physicist by the name of Dr. James Gates Jr. discovered computer error correcting code in the fabric of reality, while there are also reports of scientists observing pixels in microscopic images of nature. If our reality isn't virtual, why is it pixelated and why would it include error correcting code? Actually, if we are living in a simulated reality, it explains many quantum quandaries about the universe and the nature of reality. For instance, many scientific experiments have concluded that reality only exists when it is observed, and, therefore, when there is no observer, there is no reality. There is also something called quantum entanglement where two entangled particles are separated but they still instantaneously communicate with one another, regardless of distance and even faster than the speed of light. However, when pointing out quantum quandaries, we cannot forget about atoms. Atoms are the building blocks of literally everything, yet they are 99.9% empty space, and in fact, there is so little matter in our reality that the entire world could be condensed into a golf ball with plenty of room left over for another planet or two. These types of quantum phenomena have scientists stumped, because reality just shouldn't operate like this. However, if we are living in a simulated reality, it all makes perfect sense, and, in fact, each quantum phenomena perfectly explains how virtual games operate. For instance, in order to conserve hard drive space, as well as energy, the game player's reality only pops into place as needed, and in a virtual reality anything can move instantly from one location to another, because there is no time and space, and, therefore, things can travel faster than the speed of light. The simulated reality theory also explains parallel universes and multi-universes simply as versions of the simulation that simultaneously operate. Strange phenomena. Furthermore, if we are living in a simulated reality, it also explains certain non-scientific phenomena. Déjà vu, ghosts, and other paranormal activity could be glitches in the program. Psychic ability and intuition could simply be the result of accessing information within the program. Reincarnation could be pre-programmed memories, or past life memories could be alternate running simulations. The simulation theory can also explain alien abductions, UFO sightings, and other strange supernatural phenomena, because anything is possible in a virtual reality. Even miracles can be easily legitimized by quantum jumping, shifting parallel universes, or a radical change in programming where the programmer answers your prayers by rewriting specific code. The simulation theory also explains how two or more people can have different experiences in the same situation or conflicting memories, and, in fact, there is a phenomenon known as the Mandela effect, where large groups of people remember the past differently, and it seems that the past changes accordingly. It is difficult to prove something like this for obvious reasons. However, what if we seamlessly move from one parallel universe to another, yet we keep our memories from the previous timeline? This would mean that some of us might be in a timeline that correlates with particular memories, and some of us might be in a timeline that doesn't correlate with particular memories. If this is true, it also means that we have the ability to quantum jump from one reality to another, thereby changing our experience of life without even knowing it. But, life feels so real. Except for the occasional odd sense otherwise, life feels incredibly real, and, in fact, it all seems so real that it is difficult to believe that our universe is a simulation of some sort. Nonetheless, if we are living in a virtual reality, we literally have no real reference point to discern the difference between real and virtual, so we actually don't know what real is. It is curious, however, that people who have had near-death experiences often report that the afterworld seems more real than this one. Well, maybe it is. Honestly, even if we are living in a simulated world, there is no way to definitively know, but the concept of a virtual reality does offer a reasonable perspective to many unexplained mysteries of life, and it also explains many common spiritual paradoxes. Decoding spiritual paradox. Many spiritual philosophies offer paradoxical teachings that have no basis in logic, and even lack basic common sense. However, when we approach these unusual concepts from a virtual perspective, they suddenly make perfect sense. Quite possibly, those first spiritual teachers actually knew that this reality was simulated, and they passed down hints in spiritual text. In the context of a simulated reality, let's examine three popular paradoxes. 1. Life is an illusion. Throughout history, many spiritual teachers have taught that life is an illusion, nothing is really happening and we are just dreaming in a sea of emptiness. As abstract as this concept sounds, in a virtual world nothing is happening, nothing exists and it is all a grand illusion. 2. Only this moment exists. Another common spiritual belief says that everything is happening at once and time is an illusion. It's difficult to grasp onto this concept until we consider that in a virtual reality, time and space do not exist. Only this moment can be experienced because virtual life fills in around us as we move from place to place, and reality doesn't pop into position until it needs to. 3. We are all one. Most spiritual philosophies agree that we are all connected, and, in fact, we are all one. In an actual reality, being connected as one is probably illogical, but in a simulated world, we are all connected by the program, and, therefore, it is impossible to be separate. We are one because there can only be one in a virtual reality. Additionally, science typically clashes with spirituality, but when we approach both from a virtual model, all the pieces of the puzzle fit into position, allowing science and spirituality to finally meet. What's the point of simulating reality? Unlike popular sci-fi movies, we are probably not slaves to machines or prisoners held against our will. Instead, we are most likely the creators of this virtual world, or, at the very least, willing volunteers. But, what's the point? Unfortunately, from our limited viewpoint, we can only guess the purpose of a virtual existence, but there are many possible scenarios. Maybe, at some point in the distant future, humanity advances to transhumanism, in which we exceed human limitations and become super beings who are indestructible. Assuming this possibility, as an advanced civilization, we likely lose the authentic human experience, and, as such, might create simulations where we can experience life as mortal human beings, equipped with the free will to make choices within the simulation, we can experience the full range of ups and downs with challenges and delights, while uncertainty and the quest for victory make for an intriguing virtual life. Likewise, as an advanced future race, we probably don't experience anger, frustration, separation, loneliness, or fear, so if we desire to have these human experiences, the only way to do so would be in a simulation. Keep in mind that virtual time is very deceptive. 1 year in a simulation could be equivalent to 1 second outside the simulation, making an 80-year virtual lifetime pass by in the blink of an eye. Let's face it, when time and space cease to exist, anything you imagine is plausible. Another possibility is that our future selves want to learn from the past, so they can avoid repeating the tragedies of history, or this simulation could be some type of experiential training, such as a 3D school where we experience the positive and negative consequences of our behavior, actions, and choices. Then, of course, the reason for a simulation could be as simple as the fact that virtual games are fun and exciting because you can have any experience without risk. So, whatever happens, happens. No harm can be done in a virtual world because nothing is real, not even you. Let's also consider that there is not a real reality out there, and maybe, there is nothing more real than a virtual reality, meaning that everything in existence is virtual in nature. Are we really powerless? Indeed, the idea of living in a simulation can make us feel powerless, because it means that something other than us is in control and quite possibly controlling us. On the other hand, living in a simulation can mean that miracles are possible, magic can be expected, and we really are limitless. Once we understand how the simulation works and how to operate it from the inside, we can upgrade our minds for greater intelligence or creativity, download special gifts and talents, or reprogram our bodies for perfect health and even agelessness. We might also experience alternate versions of life, parallel realities, and supernatural phenomena, and, maybe we can also download advanced abilities, such as telepathy, telekinesis, and psychic ability. Cheat codes might also allow us to peek into the future before making a decision, or maybe even go back in time to redo a past mistake or missed opportunity. This all sounds like sci-fi, and it is, but sci-fi often has its roots in reality, or whatever this existence is. Nevertheless, real or simulated, let's get down to practicality, because there are more essential elements to life than superpowers and special abilities. If we are virtual beings in a virtual world, do we really have the power to manipulate our environment right now? The answer is most definitely yes. There would be absolutely no point to a simulation if we didn't have a way to influence virtual life. So, although we might be Sims, we still possess the free will to make conscious choices, and, as such, we have the power to consciously create reality, even if it's not real. Additionally, as an expert in the field of manifestation, with over 4 decades of research and experiential study, I can confidently say that the laws of manifestation perfectly correlate with a simulated reality, and, in fact, when examined through a virtual model of reality, many facets of manifestation make a great deal more sense. So, if we are living in a simulated universe, how do we influence it in order to have the best possible experience? Firstly, you need to understand that you are playing the game of life, and secondly, you must clearly comprehend the underlying dynamics of this virtual game, so that you know exactly how to play it. You are love, you are light, and all is well. Part 2. The game of life and how to play it. In this article, we will explore the complex dynamics of living in a simulated reality, including practical ways to consciously create the life of your dreams. Have you ever sensed that something is just not right about reality, like there is an important secret on the verge of being revealed? Deep inside, there is a part of us who knows that there is more to this convoluted game of life than meets the eye. According to quantum physics, the physical dynamics of reality are nearly identical to a very advanced virtual game, and, in fact, several experts in the fields of quantum physics and digital physics are convinced that our entire universe is simulated, and, if this is true, that would make us all Sims. As discussed in part 1 of this article, despite how real reality appears, there is no way to say for sure, because if we are living in a simulation, we literally have no real reference point to discern the difference between real and virtual. In fact, it is accurate to say that without our brain's sophisticated ability to interpret electrical signals, we wouldn't experience anything at all. Assuming that we are virtual beings, playing a virtual game, how exactly do we play the game? The following is based on the laws of conscious creation, quantum physics, and various spiritual principles, along with a hint of vision and a touch of imagination. Even if reality is not simulated, the following concepts still apply to the game of life, so keep an open mind and enjoy the ride. The game of life. If we are, in fact, playing some sort of virtual game, the name of the game is life, and without getting into a philosophical debate, quite possibly, the purpose of the game is pure experience, with an advanced version requiring us to learn, grow, and evolve through all types of experiences. Unfortunately, none of us remember reading an instruction manual prior to beginning the game, but, if there was such a thing, it might go something like this. Lesson number 1, Setting up the game. Before the game of life begins, as your higher self you decide your mission or preferred destiny, and based on this intention, your virtual self is programmed with a particular dream that aligns you with your chosen path. This is the path that fulfills your intended mission and or allows you to experience your best possible destiny. This driving force is the exact reason you are, in fact, playing the game. Once the game begins, you will lose all memories of your higher self, and you will even forget that you are playing a game. Amnesia allows you to have an intensively real experience, but this also means that you will need some direction and guidance along the way. Therefore, in order to support your journey and provide you with the tools you will require in the game, your virtual self is programmed with appropriate gifts, physical characteristics, particular challenges and personality attributes through a program known to us as DNA and another program known as astrology, where the position of the stars and planets at the time of birth represent an underlying program that operates specific functions during your lifetime. Playing the game of life requires a game board or playing field. In our game, this is known as planet Earth, but our entire universe expands as far as we explore, but only when we explore. Earth is a pre-made template where the game is staged, and there are unlimited versions of this template, varying according to the version of history required for a particular life experience, as well as the current time period in which we choose to live. Of course, a simulation allows for unlimited realities with different versions of reality for each simulated character, so that two characters can live in the same physical location, while having very different experiences due to different versions of reality. However, even though we are each playing a unique game within our own individual reality, and your reality belongs to you alone, whenever we share an agreed upon reality, our individual realities intersect and overlap, creating a shared reality where we can agree on specific attributes, but we are never locked into any one reality, so a shift in consciousness can easily result in a new version of reality where we no longer experience the same shared reality, or we might experience an alternate version of friends and family. Although there are certain constructs and parameters that must be followed, such as gravity and the basic need for air, food, and water, beyond the natural laws that construct the simulation and certain predetermined game limitations, we can experience any type of reality we dream, and because reality fills in around us, moment to moment, miracles, magic, and instant manifestation is possible. The game of life begins as we are each born to specific parents who will provide the most ideal early life circumstances, including events that will mold personality, experiences that create challenges to overcome, and opportunities that highlight our gifts and talents, all the while intentionally aligning us with our chosen path. Moreover, predetermined childhood experiences, and particularly traumatic events, are meant to deepen pre-made programs, such as DNA, but they also create new ones through subconscious programming. The game of life will inevitably ask you to develop your talents and express your gifts, as well as face your fears and overcome your challenges, and, in doing so, you have the opportunity to discover who you really are, and, ultimately, experience your best possible life. Of course, there are no guarantees, and most people reincarnate over and over before they master the game and learn how to consciously create their virtual reality, but it doesn't have to be this difficult nor take so long. Lesson number 2, Playing the Game. Inside a sophisticated virtual reality, every possibility exists as probability waves within the field of potentiality, otherwise known as the quantum field, the intelligent field of infinite potential. Although countless versions of life simultaneously exist, only one version locks into place at a time, and we seamlessly experience it as reality, but what exactly determines the version we experience? Until you are fully conscious and awake, the primary subconscious program, called the ego, automatically runs your life according to your individual programming. The ego is a survival program specifically designed to keep you alive in the simulation as long as possible, and, when the ego is operating, you have little or no power to affect reality. This means that as long as you are unconscious, most of your choices, including your actions, reactions, and interactions, are determined by the ego and dictated according to your specific programming. This makes it quite difficult to avoid predestined events, and just as challenging to manifest desired experiences that are not already predetermined. Therefore, in order to intentionally influence reality and consciously create your life, you must override subconscious programming and make conscious choices, but in order to do so, you must play the game of life as your higher self. Unfortunately, this is no easy feat when we have amnesia of our higher selves, and, consequently, we experience a virtual version of ourselves trapped within the confines of a simulated world where limitation and fear seem to rule. However, with utmost certainty, awakening as your higher self allows you to transcend the simulated construct that predetermines your life, and, therefore, your ability to consciously affect reality is directly related to your level of consciousness. The more conscious you are, the more power you have. Hence, in order to play the game as your higher self, you must wake up and remember who you really are. Lesson number 3, Waking up is the key to mastering your virtual reality. Immersed in subconscious programming, we are unaware, but as we are able to observe ourselves, we become self-aware, thereby increasing individual consciousness, and, if we continue to progress through self-awareness, eventually we awaken as the observer, which is another word for higher self. This is commonly known as spiritual awakening, but you don't just awaken the spirit of your higher self, you actually awaken as your higher self. When your real self is awake and consciously playing the game, you have the power to influence reality from inside the simulation, thereby transcending the ego, as well as deactivating subconscious programming, and even rewriting your own DNA coding or overriding astrological code, if you so choose. Spiritual awakening is not a destination as much as it is a moment-to-moment choice, and simply being present in the now awakens your higher self for as long as you are conscious. Being awake and conscious in the moment requires you to be in your body, fully aware, completely open and totally present, without judgment or resistance, and without being in a state of reaction or defense. This means that whenever you are altogether present in the moment, without distraction, denial, or dissociation, your higher self awakens, and, as a result, you naturally embody your higher self. This is why it feels so great to live in the moment and experience true presence, but any time you lose presence by going unconscious, the ego automatically takes control, and, whenever this happens, the game of your life literally plays itself according to programming, until your higher self wakes up again. Living as your higher self clearly allows you to override subconscious programming that would otherwise control your life, but it really doesn't answer the question, how do we consciously create reality? Lesson number 4, Communicating with the Quantum Field. From outside the simulation, any variable or potential can be changed or influenced by writing or rewriting code, but, from within, we don't have that advantage, and, in fact, as sims in a simulated reality, we have no physical power to affect anything. Nonetheless, when it comes to influencing reality or even consciously creating life, we are equipped with something equally as powerful. Everything we experience springs forth from the quantum field, and, in fact, the field possesses the potential to birth anything we choose. This unlimited field of potentiality is conscious and intelligent, and, although it operates according to certain rules and predetermined criteria, it also responds to the power of mind. Through the power of your mind, you can be, do, or have anything, from the grandest dream down to the most delightful desire. By consciously using your mind in the correct way, you can ask the quantum field for virtually anything, no pun intended, and it can't say no. Whether you realize it or not, you are constantly communicating with the field through your thoughts, intentions, and focus, but the most powerful form of communication is your beliefs. In fact, the field automatically hears all your beliefs and consequently acts as a mirror by manifesting them in reality, and, in this regard, reality is a feedback system that flawlessly demonstrates your beliefs. So, if you don't like any aspect of your life, you don't have to look any further than your beliefs. Beliefs are so powerful that they are the on and off switch for subconscious programming, and the only way to program and reprogram your subconscious mind. The power of imagination. The second way to communicate with the field is through images and symbols. Whatever you imagine is received as information to the field. In other words, the field reads your imagination as a request and delivers accordingly. This is why it is very important to only imagine what you want and never imagine what you don't want. Magnetism. The third way in which you communicate with the field is through electromagnetic vibration. So, if you want to create or manifest a dream or desire, you must emit a vibrational signal that magnetically attracts the subject of your dream or desire. We usually refer to this as the well-known law of attraction, but it is the less-known magnetic key that has all the power. This key is self-love, and without it the law of attraction has very little influence on reality. Self-love tells the field that you believe that you are worthy of your desire, and the high energy of self-love magnetically attracts whatever you choose. Self-love is the vibrational currency that allows you to exchange thoughts for things. Now that you know the essential keys to communicating with the field, you also need to recognize the ways in which your higher self communicates with you, before and after awakening. Lesson number 5, Messages from Above. Through your higher self, you have direct access to the wisdom of an omnipotent vantage point. Indeed, your higher self knows the best path for you to travel, and also knows the right answers to your most pivotal questions, but, unless you can receive this guidance, it is lost or given in vain. This means that learning to hear and decipher information from your higher self is a big game changer. So, how does your higher self communicate with you? Inner guidance. Your higher self communicates to you through inner guidance, otherwise known as intuition, gut feelings, or a sense of knowing. Your ability to receive depends on your openness and the quietness of your mind, so the more open and still you are, the greater the guidance. If this is not a good reason for regular meditation, I don't know what is. Signposts, synchronicity, meaningful occurrences, and random signs are all forms of higher communication, and the more you pay attention, the more you will benefit from these pivotal signposts. Thoughts and ideas, that sudden idea or spark of genius comes directly from your higher self, and, as such, your higher self speaks to you through thoughts and ideas, but in a noisy head, you could miss this guidance altogether. Dreams and desires, your dreams and desires are not random or non-essential, and, in fact, your dreams and desires are the ways in which your higher self directs you onto your chosen path, aligning you with your best possible destiny. Listen to your emotions. Human emotions are designed for the purpose of higher guidance, with good feeling emotions leading us on our path, and bad feeling emotions showing us when we have strayed. If you should fall off your path entirely, certain experiences inevitably occur in order to show you the right path, and hopefully get you back on track, but, if you have seriously deviated, your higher self might also use crisis as a course-correcting strategy. What does this mean for us? Well, if we are really living in a simulated reality, we can lighten up and stop taking life so seriously. We can follow our bliss and do what we want to do, and we can forgive and forget, because no harm can be done in a world of illusion. Hence, if our unconscious behavior was a result of programming, we can forgive ourselves too, and, in fact, maybe this is why so many spiritual philosophies proclaim that we are really innocent and there is nothing to forgive. Moreover, if reality isn't real, it's a great deal easier to take chances and quite possibly live fearlessly, and if anything can be experienced by virtue of programming, this also means that you have the potential to be truly limitless. When you wake up and remember who you really are, and the game you are playing, you have the power and ability to override the rules, transcend disempowerment, and embark on the greatest journey of your life. Quite possibly, you may choose not to play the game at all, thereby experiencing life as the observer and living peacefully in non-duality, or you can also choose to play a new game, whatever that might be. Scientists haven't yet found a way to prove or disprove the simulation theory, and it may never be possible, but, regardless of the nature of reality, the remarkable journey of love and life is no less precious and no less miraculous. You are love, you are light, and all is well. In grace, love, and gratitude. Nanas.